The Board of Ellis County Commissioners will now come to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, Bobby, if you could call the roll.
Commissioner Joe LaRue.
Here.
Chair Butch Schleier.
Here.
Commissioner Neil Younger.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Prior minutes, Commissioners, did you review the prior minutes?
Everything looks good.
Everything, minutes stand as submitted. Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through G.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Are there any issues from persons not on the order of business? Okay, we'll move on then. And the first agenda item is the rezoning at 230th and Feedlot Road. Justin?
Good morning, Commissioners. Justin Craig, Environmental Services Director. Chairman McDaniel was ill this morning, so Keith Gusson has volunteered to kind of step up. So before you this morning is a rezoning request for the property at 230th and Feedlot. Sorry. There you go. Is that better? Okay. So before you this morning is a rezoning request for the property at 230th and Feedlot. They're requesting to rezone from a residential district to a flex district. As you can see from the maps, there's some flex zone around there. You want to go down a little bit? Keep going down. To the Google Earth, sorry. There you go. Maybe the next one down if it's, so there's a wider view of the area. So they're requesting to change that to a flex district from residential. What questions do you gentlemen have this morning?
What can all be included in a flex zone?
What's that? I'm sorry.
What can be included in a flex zone? Is that kind of wide open, or?
There's multiple. It just allows for more of a, I guess, commercial use, or there's several other different uses. I could get the book and name it off, but there's multiple of them in that matrix.
Oh.
What could possibly be put there?
Okay, and this is going to be used as a distribution center, is that correct?
Yeah, that was part of the application. It was the first time we'd ever tried to do a rezoning and a CUP. We thought maybe we could try to push it together. In the future, we know we need to separate it because without the rezoning, the CUP cannot be approved.
Mm-hmm.
So if the rezoning request is not approved, the CUP becomes moot. So we should have, in hindsight, we would have broken it up, but we didn't know at the time.
And what is supposed to be distributed out of the distribution center?
Agricultural parts. I can't recall the name of the business. It would be for farm equipment.
Okay. I think on past requests, the committee has always made a recommendation to approve, disapprove, or send it back. How come there's no recommendation made this time, Justin?
Yeah, that would be up to the commissioners. From a zoning standpoint, there's no reason it couldn't be approved for a rezoning. The conditional use should be separate, so it's possible that the rezoning could be approved and then this conditional use permit be denied.
Okay, that's all questions I have. Commissioner Joe.
So I know, with Hess Services up there, that area is already used to a lot of commercial traffic and business activity. So that piece of it wouldn't be unusual, but there are some homes up there too. Have any of the property owners or residents from that area weighed in on this?
Yes, there were several at the meeting. I believe they're here this morning. They had some concerns about the hours of operation. traffic on the road, some of the
Sure,
lighting
because the feedlot and Hess services are primarily a first shift operation, so if this business might have different hours, I could see where they might have some concerns. But yeah, I was just curious what the property owners had to say about this possible approval, especially in light of the commission not necessarily. I understand why from him answering your question, but it is unusual that they didn't give a recommendation. So,
Are there anyone in the audience would like to comment on this?
I would like to come up
Yes,
and talk.
please come up and talk. State your name.
My name's Rebecca Maynard, and I'm going to read because I'm not a public speaker.
Okay.
I live with my husband and our 2 kids in the home we built. We are within 1,000 feet of the property that the requested rezoning is for. We came today to request a denial for the proposed rezoning. We're concerned about what the rezoning of that property would mean for our home and the safety of our children. When we purchased our property and built, the land to the east of us was CRP. In the last year, a bypass has been put in and now a proposed warehouse and distribution center. The bypass was enough to likely impact our property values and make it harder to resell our home. And we feel a warehouse and distribution center so near to our home would impact that even further. We also already have seen a slight increase in traffic around our home. There's 5 young children who live in that neighborhood who run around the properties together. We are uncomfortable with adding more semi-traffic right in our backyard and how that may impact the kids' safety. At the planning committee meeting in December, Keith had stated that he isn't really sure where the trucks are coming from or what it is that they're hauling. He just would own the building and wants to build there, and then another company would lease it from him. And while this rezoning, it's a rezoning meeting and not a conditional use meeting, it is important to take into consideration what that land would be opened up to if it was rezoned. He currently wants to put a warehouse there, but he could use it for other things or sell it to someone else. And if he did, that property would be widely opened up to many other possibilities that are not family friendly. If zoning's changed, some of the permitted uses, which to my understanding means conditions don't apply as long as the structures meet the minimum requirements, include transitional housing, halfway housing, adult entertainment, rehab facilities. I believe Pig Farms is on that list. You may think adult entertainment may be far-fetched, but it has happened in this county that we have an adult entertainment center out in the country in the past. I feel these possibilities need to be considered when discussing rezoning so close to a residential area with established families and children. Even if those specific types of facilities are not established there, one warehouse could turn into multiple warehouses, and that certainly would impact our families out there. It is my understanding from reading Article 11 under Ellis County zoning regulations that multiple factors must be considered when discussing the change of zoning on any specific property. In my opinion, this is one that we shouldn't overlook right now. Whether every use that would be permitted on the property as reclassified would be compatible with the uses permitted on other property in the immediate vicinity. This property butts up against multiple residential areas. If you read through the use type, and I do encourage you to read through all of the use types on flex zoning on the elliscounty.net website, the majority of uses for flex zones are not compatible or permitted even with conditional use permits in residential zones. As a homeowner so close to the proposed rezoning, I do ask that you do not approve this. While this property is crying for Keith to rezone due to 3-phase power he wants, which I believe is for lifts in the warehouse, it would be possible to use another parcel of land on 183 further from residential areas and establish homes and get single-phase lifts or propane-operated forklifts instead.
Okay, well, thank you. I do believe some of your concerns are very valid. Commissioner Neal, do you have any questions?
Not really. I was there that night in December, so I pretty much got the whole story of it that evening. So I guess my question would be to, especially the adult, entertainment, if that could be stricken out of there. I don't know if that's a question for you, Mr. Ville, or if that has to be left in that flex part of it. Not only that, the residents are gonna, and they know that this is coming. When 230th gets done, there's gonna be a lot of traffic on that road. I mean, a lot. So I guess that's where I stand with it too.
Bill Jeter, County Councilor. The only way you could strike that out of the regulations is to amend the regulations.
Okay.
Whatever's there now is there, so to
Okay.
speak. So.
Thank you.
Can other,
And as part of that, if it's, and I don't have that list in front of me, but assuming it's included within a flex zone, then it wouldn't require a conditional use permit if the
Okay.
rezoning is approved.
Mhm.
The reason why you're discussing this in the first place is because that's zoned agriculture.
Okay.
And warehousing is not permitted in agriculture. So it needs to be changed to a zone which would allow warehousing. And under a flex zone, it would still require a conditional use permit, even if it's rezoned to flex.
are there other zones where a warehouse would fit? If we wanted?
Yes.
And
And I'm sorry, I don't have my
Yeah.
book with me, but there are a couple other zones. Well, an industrial zone would be appropriate for warehousing too, so.
So if we wanted to limit the type of businesses that could set up shop in that property, instead of flex zone, we could change it to something a little bit more specific.
Well, the reason why flex zoning was recommended is because there's the large area of flex zoning right across the street where,
Mhm.
right across the road where Hess is.
Well, what kind of zoning do they have?
But I mean, the whole issue for the landowners isn't necessarily the zoning, and I don't want to speak for them, but it would be the conditional use part of it. What is the use of that property, and is it consistent with their residential properties being located nearby?
Mhm.
I mean, that's the whole issue.
Do you have any questions for Justin or anything?
I don't know if Keith would like to speak or not.
Keith, do you want to speak?
Basically, all I gotta say is, they said they took the front yard, they took the backyard. They didn't pay for the front yard or the backyard. That is not their yard. That's state property, that's my property. We ain't taking nobody's property, we ain't taking their backyard. That's it.
Okay. Yes, come on up.
I'm Deb Shin. I also live out in the residential part on Feedlot Road within 1,000 feet of where this is proposed. Rebecca did a nice job kind of summing up, quite a few of us families from out there are present today because we're all opposed to it. Like I said, Rebecca summed it up nicely. I think the safety part of it is a big factor for our families. I know they mentioned that they are going to be doing their work after 9 o'clock at night. I don't know what kind of lighting that's going to require. He says it's only going to be, under head lighting, but, that is literally, not technically my backyard, but right behind my backyard. And, what is that going to do for my family when we're trying to, get ready for bed or whatever, and they're doing their work in the middle of the night. Also, a quick search of Mr. Worth's properties. He owns at least $2.5 million worth of property in the county. Several of them look like good places for a distribution center, 1844 250th Avenue. I know you mentioned that you wanted to have easy access to 183 and I-70, and it seems that the property on 250th would be better access for that. And you already have quite a few things there. Also, 1602 Buckeye would also be another option where you're not interfering with family lives. So, I think that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Justin, come on back up here. Well, what would be the ramifications, Justin, if this was changed from flex zoning to industrial or light industrial or something that would, a distribution center would fall into?
So a warehouse and distribution center could be allowed through conditional use on, let's see, agriculture, commercial, flex, industrial village, and so as far as the adult entertainment, that is permitted in everything except for the village district. So that could be something that could be done if that was the main concern. Or an incorporated village as well. As far as the adult entertainment goes, we've never came across that in Ellis County, so I know there is numerous conditions that it's
But
almost impossible.
we did have adult entertainment some years ago, because I know I had staff people that were stripping out there.
Sure, since the new regs were adopted, we haven't come across it. So it would be possible to do like an industrialized village if that was the main concern.
Well, after hearing everything, I don't think, I'm not ready to approve this today. I think it definitely needs some more work, some more to look at. Commissioner Neal, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I move that we send it back to the Planning Commission, Resolution 23-01, to rezone and specify property location on the southeast corner, 230th Avenue and Feedlot Road, from residential to flex district in rural Ellis County.
Yeah, and I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So it'll come back to you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the next agenda item is the Buckeye Wind Farm bond. Darren?
Good morning, Commissioners. Darren Myers, County Administrator. Before you today is just a technicality piece of the agreement that we have with Invenergy, which is the owner-operator of the Buckeye Wind Farm northwest of Hayes. And speaking to their contact person, their treasury with Invenergy, they had sent us a letter to our treasurer, Vern Reuter, and he forwarded on to me. Basically what they're wanting to do is throughout their expansion and growth of their business, they've become more one-sided with one insurance company rather than another. The one that they're wanting to basically remove would be the Chubb's surety, and they're wanting to switch it to Philadelphia. They just have more of their bonds with them, and they're just wanting basically within our agreement to have the commission agree that they can remove from one surety bond to the next. And just want the commission's approval, and then we can sign the attached letter that they had that is drafted up in the agenda, and I get it sent back to them.
Okay. And Mr. Jeter, that's not a big deal with us, is it?
No, I don't actually think we have any ability to tell them who they have to insure with.
Okay.
My main concern was the form of the bond itself, and there's no issue there, so.
Okay. Commissioner Neal?
No, I have nothing.
Commissioner Joe?
I have no issues.
Okay. Well, it sounds like the board is in favor of signing the paperwork, so we'll get that done. Okay. And we have County Administrator report. Darren?
I just want to say Happy New Year, and I know it's Butch's and Joe's last meeting. Appreciate your service. 30-plus years with the county, but also 4 as a county commissioner, as well as Joe's last year as a county commissioner. So thank you both for your time, your service, your input, and everything else, the help that you've given us. And look forward to working with Neil in the future, as well as Michael and Nathan. But that's all I got. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Darren. County Commission reports. Commissioner Joe?
Well, as Darren said, I'm unemployed now. You guys caught me stealing paper clips and gave me the boot. I couldn't help myself. They're very shiny, but as he also said, Happy New Year to everybody, and welcome to Nathan and Michael from visiting with them. They're going to do great, and I look forward to seeing the things they accomplish with Neil when the next board swears in, and just wanted to thank everybody for letting me serve you for the past year. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Commissioner Neal?
I'll echo the same thing. I really liked working with both you guys, so you've done the county a great job. We've done a lot of stuff. I've only been in here 2 years, but before that, yep, you guys
Okay.
did great. So, the other thing I did, like I say, I went to the planning meeting on that, and then I also went and met with Sandy Jacobs for a little bit with the city. And then I do want to tell HR thank you again for the nice newsletter that come out. So I appreciate that, and all of our rural firefighters. Again, there were some stories going around at our Christmas and New Year's that, you know, they leave, they may not come home. So we all appreciate everything you guys are doing. That's all I have.
Okay. As it's been said, this will be my last meeting. About 4 years ago when I started, I had a goal that we was going to try to restore Ellis County because it was in bad shape. I didn't realize how bad a shape it was in until Administrator Phil sat me down and showed me the financials, and things were bad. I believe the budget we set in 2020 had less dollars in it than the budget we had in 2012. So things weren't very good at all, and we were just heading in a bad direction. We got a lot of things changed during the last 4 years, and a lot of that was due to the commissioners I was surrounded with, Commissioner Joe, Commissioner Neal, Commissioner Hazelhorse, Commissioner Roth, all showed a commitment to Ellis County and support for the employees of Ellis County. They're to be thanked. But as we moved along, we got a sales tax passed. Thankful to Darren for that. He put in a lot of work getting that sales tax passed. Mike Leiker put in a lot of work. So did Bill Ring. Other department heads were involved in that. But we got it passed, so we were able to get our feet under us a little bit. And then we got Darren for an administrator, which was great. We wouldn't have had that happen had department heads not have spoken honestly with me about our past administrator. And when I heard what was going on, I was going to see to it we were going to change the error we had made, and we did. We've expanded Ellis County. We got a human resources department now. We expanded our landfill. We bought more land. Then we merged environmental services with the landfill. We got new directors. We changed our emergency management service and health department to get them both under control of new directors instead of having one director. Try to administer them both. We purchased new land to help secure a new public works building. We got new positions on board in Ellis County. I believe Mike Leiker got 2. We got the clerk more position. We got the appraiser more position. So things have really prospered in the last 4 years. We can see a lot of improvement, and we did get our pay scale finally to work with lateral movement on the pay scale as well as COLA increases. So, and I'm sure there's other things I'm not even mentioning yet, but like I say, my goal was to help restore Ellis County. Community projects to me were a side thing. They weren't the big issue. If we don't have a solid functioning Ellis County with a good foundation under it, we're not going to do a lot on the side. So anyhow, as I leave Ellis County government, I know I'm leaving it a whole lot better than it was when I started. And that's thanks to everyone involved, all the department heads, elected officials, commissioners I worked with. And I'm just going to follow the advice of Al Linder. Al Linder is the producer of the In Fisherman TV show. Al Linder says there's so many fish, there's so little time. And as we get older, that just really rings true. So when the weather's warm and the wind is not blowing too hard, I'm going to be fishing. Thank you. And if there's nothing else going on, this commission meeting will adjourn at 8:55.